Okay, we're going to get started. Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad to be here with you, or you're here with me. It's virtual. We don't care about that at all. We're going to be covering some really interesting things. If you don't know me, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. Maybe some of you do. I'm a futurist. I look at innovations, what's emerging, future trends in business people and technology. And I've been helping the Executive Assistance Network for, whoa, a couple years now. And we're going to be continue working together. This is the start of a webcast series. We're going to be sharing knowledge and learning new things to make you more productive. And today we're going to be talking about some scary things, but by the end of it, you're going to say, how cool, and I know how to do that now. You're going to learn something practical. And if you have any questions, at the top left-hand side of your screen, there's actually a Q&A button. You can click Q&A and you can type in a question, and I'll be reviewing those as we go through our time together. Also, there's a chat box, and you can type into the chat box if you want to talk with other people. Maybe they want to make recommendations about things that I'm talking about. There are experts who are tuning in besides me out there already that already know about a lot of these things, and maybe they could share their expertise in the chat box as well. So let's get started. You're going to enjoy this. You're going to learn something new. Some of it might be a bit scary to you, but don't worry. I'm going to show you everything that you need to know to be safe and successful in the future. But I really have to warn you. I don't know if you've been following the news in the technology world. Every week, there's a new hack. There's something being hacked. And in the news this week, it was Amazon. So Amazon passwords, not all of them, but some Amazon logins and passwords, not credit cards, those are encrypted, but logins were hacked. And people are getting emails saying, please update your details. And it looked like it came from Amazon, wasn't from Amazon at all. So if you got an email saying, log in, don't do that. Just go to Amazon if you've ever purchased anything and update your password. I'm going to show you a couple other things that you can do to make your passwords even more secure. Now, you're going to get hacked. This is what I learned when I went to a big security conference. You're going to get hacked. But can you minimize the damage? Yes, you can. Everyone is getting hacked for the silliest reasons. You wouldn't believe what's happening. And what's happening is you might think, well, we've got a big team at our company. We've got the IT people on that. We've got a great team. We know all about this, Craig. Well, it's the biggest threat, if you talk to IT security professionals, are us, the individual users. So we've got to change our behavior. That's the one thing is the biggest pain point for security professionals. So let's talk about security because we have to talk about it. And I'm going to show you all sorts of other tools to make you incredibly productive. I've got a whole bunch of web, Google Chrome extension plugins, little plugins for Google Chrome, and some apps to make you super productive. But we've got to talk about security first because many of these apps and these plugins, they require passwords and so on. So we've got to talk about security first. And let's get it out of the way because it is the elephant in the room. Every day, another hack. And in this week, we had Amazon that I discussed. And so we need to update our Amazon passwords. And we're going to turn on some extra advanced settings that should be standard settings, but they're under advanced. And it will make your passwords even more secure. How about Dell? It was just 2 days ago, it was revealed that Dell shipped all of their laptops, recent laptops, with software built into them, so your laptop could be easily hacked by an outside threat. A hacker could come in, steal all your data. You wouldn't even know they were there for months, completely owning your laptop, as they call it in the hacking community. And I know a lot of these Dell laptops sell here in Australia. So if you've had any Dell boxes, laptops arrived in your organization recently, make sure, go to Business Insider and look at this Dell story and see what you can do. There's a fix there in the story, but it's every day. And it's really having an impact on people's individual lives because you think about it, how much of our lives now are in the cloud? Everything is there. And a terrible thing happened just a few years ago to Matt. Matt was a journalist. He is a journalist and was writing for Gizmodo, a very popular gadget blog and review website. And he had a very cool Twitter handle. His Twitter handle was at Matt. He spells it with one T, so it's just M-A-T. And people love this. Well, some people do, so much so that they hacked his life. Just in the matter of a few minutes, all of his devices lit up around him, and he could see that he was locked out and the data was being deleted. All of his photos that were in his iCloud account backed up into iCloud from his MacBook. The first year of his baby's life completely gone, all because these hackers wanted this cool Twitter handle. So I have to tell you, when I've had family members, this has happened to them, and it's a terrible feeling. You don't want this to happen to you. So let's change our behavior just a little bit. It's going to be a tiny little hassle. Well, a 5-second hassle. A 5-second hassle to prevent this from happening in your life or in your company. Your IT security team will thank you. So hopefully you know about this. If you don't, you should know about this, and this what this series is all about. Things you should know to make your life better. And two-factor authentication is known to security experts. People who know about technology, they turn this on. People who are married to people that know about technology, they turn it on as well because they know what the chances are. Hacks are happening every day. And two-factor authentication means that you're going to input two parts of data from two separate places, something that you know and something that you have. So you have a mobile device with you, and it has codes on it that automatically change by time. You put them on your phone. So I have something here. I have a phone, and it's got codes, and I know something, a password. By having these two things together, it makes our logins much more secure. Every security expert in the world would do this. It's two-factor authentication. It's all about something that you know, your password, and something that you have, your phone. Now, the first question I get asked when I show this is, but what if I don't have Wi-Fi or cellular? Will this still work? It definitely will. So you could be overseas and not have a cell connection or Wi-Fi or something like that. This will still work. Some of us maybe worked in legal organizations over the past years. We have these little dongles on our keychains. They do the same thing. What I like about this app on my phone that we'll talk more about in a minute is that there's so many websites now. I can have one app and I can have my codes there on my smartphone. So if you have an Amazon account, and if you've ever purchased anything on Amazon, you have an Amazon account. It's time to update your passwords. And if you go to to account settings and go to change account settings, this is where you can change your password. So change your password and then scroll down to the bottom. You go down to the bottom and you'll see advanced security settings. I think it should be called standard security settings, but advanced computer settings, advanced security settings, and then it will take you to this screen. And you can choose two ways for your second factor authentication. You can have them send you a text message. Maybe you have this in your bank. Every time you make a new transfer, you get a text message. Or you can use an authenticator app. And that's what I like to do. I have a little authenticator app on my iPhone made by Google. So from then on, whenever you log into Amazon from a new device, now you can say, this is a trusted device, this is my home computer, you can log in just with my email or password. But if somebody logs in from an unknown device, I want to get a text message that somebody's logging in. For instance, that's one way that you can use this. It's a very secure way. Second factor, it's not the only way. Increasingly, we're going to be moving to biometric scanning. We have fingerprint scanning on most modern phones now. I was just talking to a group in airport security at Sydney Airport Corporation yesterday. They're looking at long-range iris scans. So even in a crowd, it's just like Minority Report. In a crowd, they can scan your irises for security. That's biometrics. That's what's coming next. But in the meantime, we're going to be using two-factor authentication with something like Google Authenticator. It really is fantastic. It's just an app that you download. If you just Google Authenticator, you'll get to a page that shows you that you can download it for Android devices or iPhones or iPod Touches or even Blackberries. Some people still have Blackberries, I think. You could do it for multiple accounts as well. And this is what it looks like. The screens on the left are the Android version. The screen on the right is the iOS screen. And these special codes change. They're unique calculations based on time and a long string of code that you can either manually add. You can see the manually add account there, or what most people do is they just scan a barcode. So you log into your account on Facebook, you say, I'd like to use a Google Authenticator to prove who I am, and it gives you a 2D scan, barcode, you scan it, and it goes straight into your Authenticator app. This is how it works, from the code to the QR code into your device, and then it starts generating these real-time codes. If you're not doing this, I would really recommend that any websites that you go to, you turn it on. And yes, it will take an extra maybe couple seconds to get that code and type it in. It's a little bit of a hassle, but it really protects you from, well, losing all sorts of things. So there's a great website that lists popular websites that support two-factor authentication, and it's called twofactorauth.org. And here you can see they've got listed backup and cloud backup and sync services. They've got banking services, and where I would suggest that you start, because this is how most intrusions get into our computers, is through social networks. It's through social engineering, through social network. Matt's his life was hacked through a social network, a Twitter account. So you can pull down category there on the left, and you can pull all the way down to social, and then you can select Facebook, for instance, and it will show you that you can use either SMS or a software token. That's what the Authenticator app is. So you got a choice, either SMS or Authenticator. Okay, guys, just have a chat there. Click on the chat box and type into the chat. There's just at the top, there's a black bar. You'll see it just at the top there. Click on the chat, type in the chat box. Have you ever met anybody that's been hacked? That's question number one. Question number two to type into the chat box. Do you know someone that's been hacked, and are you going to do two-factor authentication? I'm going to give you 10 seconds to type into the chat box. By the way, there's going to be a prize randomly given out to the most active people in the chat box. You have 10 seconds. Your time begins now. What do you think, guys? You going to turn on two-factor authentication?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just on OneDrive.
OneDrive, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I'm getting used to it.
Yeah, you will.
I turned it on just out of curiosity. And
Yeah.
and then it's easy to get used to.
Yeah, you do get used to it, and it's so important. I have a password system on my phone that I can use my fingerprint to log into things, and I know that biometrics will be the way forward because it's something we can carry with ourselves. Yeah. All right. Let's get started with the next bit of content. Oh, I've got some questions popping up. Fantastic. Great to see you guys interacting. So I'm going to turn off the screen share for a moment and go to the Q&A. Thank you for chatting. And we have 7 open questions. Carrie says she doesn't know anyone that's been hacked. Well, that's good. Yes, your hubby got a hacked email. Oh, yes, my church got hacked. All the church emails got hacked. That was not a good scene at all. Never used it before, but it looks good. And do some research, Adele says. Then looks if it looks authentic. Yes, it's so authentic, it's called Authenticator. That's how authentic it is. What was the second question? Do you know somebody that's been hacked, and will you use second factor authentication now. Naomi asks or says, I know someone that's been hacked. Me. Oh boy. Yes, great. Well, this gives you great motivation to not have that happen again. Biometrics, Adele says, biometrics is good. Yes, I'm using an app that uses my thumbprint, and I love it. It's so fast now on the modern phones, like the iPhone 6 and the new Samsung. 10 seconds causes typos. Yes, I should have given you a bit longer. I didn't know how long you guys would like to interact. Thank you for chatting. Jennifer Owen asks, what are the chances hackers can familiarize themselves with so much of this technology that when it becomes defunct? What are the chances that hackers can familiarize themselves so much with this technology that becomes defunct? Oh, I see. Could two-factor authentication, could they find a way around it? Well, right now, no, unless, of course, they've stolen your phone as well. And we've seen this happen overseas. As executives, we're now advised not to leave any of our electronic devices, even in safes in our hotels. They can be bypassed, and they'll log into your email. Your phone's there if you've left it behind. That's the only way now. And I think it'll become even harder as we move to biometrics, because duplicating thumbprints and iris scans are really hard. That's why the government and banks use it. Okay, let's just look in the chat, see you guys are interacting. Jennifer said a gentleman in IT who bought a PC was hacked. Yeah, do you know increasingly there are laptops shipping and they're already hacked. They're out of the box like the Dells. And I know I have security professionals. They get the machine out of the box and they say, by the time you connect it to the internet, and if you've gone to 10 sites, you're 60% chance that you've already been hacked. Yeah. And Jennifer says, I use two-factor authentication for Google and Facebook, but you didn't know it was available so widely. Yes, it's not available on all websites. Twofactorauth.org has many websites there, and I would suggest turning them all on. And they also have sort of a, let's guilt them into having two-factor authentication. Facebook didn't have it for many years. LinkedIn didn't have it for many years. And so there's a button saying tweet out that you would like them to have two-factor authentication. And I love it in my household. My wife, Kimberly, she would tell you that she's not very much into technology, but I just think it's so cool. Gets me so excited as a geek for my wife to say to me last night, oh, I'm not going to use that website, Craig. They don't have two-factor authentication. Yes, I've won in my household. I think that's fantastic. All right, guys, keep the chats up. Oh, there's another question from Tanya. Tanya, is it? Tanya? What is the difference between this and LastPass? I'm glad you asked the question, what is the difference between this and LastPass? Because that's going to be one of my favorite Chrome web browsers plugins that I was going to recommend. Yes, it's another security topic, but it's so important. Just a moment while I get my presentation up. I didn't quit out of Keynote, did I? Ah, I see what's going on. Let's just go back to Zoom. Can't see it. Go back to Zoom and share the Keynote screen. There we go. Okay, the next section of learning today is all about Chrome browser extensions and apps that make your browsing awesome, and also a lot more productive. And keep those questions coming in, because I will answer them all before we go. Now, if you don't know how to install an extension in Google Chrome, do you guys know how to install? No, you're shaking your head. You don't. Most people don't know how to do it. It's under Window in Chrome, and you pull down to extensions. And yes, I get questions, is Chrome the best web browsers? Not the best web browser, but it's certainly the most secure. And so I like security. Let's use Chrome, and let's go to Window and pull down to extensions, and you scroll down the bottom of your list and you can click get more extensions. Or if you're a lazy man like me, you can type in Google Chrome Store, and then you'll get this page. and then you can click on the left to extensions, and you'll find extensions there. And the number one extension that I tell everyone to install is LastPass. Now, how is LastPass different from second factor authentication? Well, LastPass uses two-factor authentication, but it's not the only thing that it does. What LastPass does is it helps you create super secure passwords and notifies you when your passwords aren't secure. It allows me to have super long ones, 25 characters of all gobbledygook, and I can log in with a single fingerprint. And most of my clients that work in corporations love this because they can use it to share a password with a coworker, but they don't have to give them the password. It allows them to log in and say, do some social media marketing, but they don't get to walk away with the password out of the business. It's a fantastic tool. And what it will do is after you've installed the LastPass extension and signed up for an account, when you go to signing up for a new a web service or into a new website, it will generate, you click the generate button, it will create a super long password for you and save it into LastPass. And the only thing that you have to remember is your LastPass login, just one login. And I'll just make a note here. If you forget your LastPass login, they will not give it to you. That's not secure. You know how you get emailed back, oh, you can log in here, just reset your password? They won't let you do that. It's not a secure way of doing it anyway. So when you sign up for LastPass, or if you already have an account, there's a new service where you can just click under security. You can say SMS recovery, and they will use your device that you have, allow you to recover your LastPass account. And then from then on, you can create great secure passwords. The second Google Chrome plugin, it also works on Firefox, but I prefer you to use a Google Chrome plugin, is a fantastic one that's just risen up the charts of success. You can see over 1,200,000 installs of this, 3,000 5-star reviews. It's called uBlock Origin. So uBlock Origin, what it allows you to do is stop websites, say like the Sydney Morning Herald, from putting ads all around the page or in the middle of the page. It'll delete all those ads. And it will also stop some of these news websites. Maybe you were clicking on stories about what's happening in the golf season right now. And then from then on, you start getting ads for golf clubs. Now, I've worked in the golf industry and with pro shops at golf shops, but I'm not a golfer. But as soon as I started doing research about golf clubs, for the next 12 months, I was getting ads for golf clubs or on other websites that I hadn't visited there, I hadn't shopped for. Maybe this has happened to you as well. Or the really annoying thing is you buy that thing and then they continue advertising to you. So uBlock Origin will eliminate that advertising and block the tracking. And the third benefit of uBlock, and why I'm recommending it to all my family and friends and clients, is it speeds up website loading tremendously. You wouldn't believe the amount of cruft that's injected into websites now. You might think your PC or Mac is slowing down. It's not slowing down. It's web pages, some that are many, many megabytes now when they should just be hundreds of K. So go to the Google Chrome web store, go to extensions and search for uBlock Origin. There's another one called uBlock. That one's been discontinued. Nobody's working on that anymore. Go to uBlock Origin and install it. And I'll show you the difference that you'll get. Here is the Sydney Morning Herald, and I put red arrows to just on the front page the amount of advertising that you see here. It's many megabytes of animation, and down there there's a Fitbit video that's playing in the background. That uses a lot of bandwidth as well. That's what it looks like without uBlock Origin. I switch on uBlock Origin, and this is what the page looks like. Oh, doesn't that feel more relaxing? It's like, doesn't have all that cruft around it. And man, it loads like that. It is absolutely fantastic. Have a look at uBlock Origin. Oh, by the way, you can also pull down from the extension. The extensions live up in your top of your bar at Chrome, and you can click on it and it'll tell you how many tracking scripts or other things, cookies that are being set on the Sydney Morning Herald page. And you can see there were 21 tracking scripts on the Sydney Morning Herald. Turn those off and I don't get tracked anymore. It is absolutely fantastic. You've got to get it. My third Chrome plugin for getting you to be more effective and safe in what you're doing is Pushbullet. This is what all the hipster kids are using lately. They're down at Schoolies Week, and they're sending messages to one another on a secure messaging platform. It's kind of like instant messaging, but between computers and between mobile devices. And rather than using SMS, they can use Pushbullet. What Pushbullet does, in a corporate setting, is have you ever had something on your PC and you really wanted it on your mobile device? Like, say, an invitation to a webcast, and you wanted to view it on your mobile device, what would you do? I know what most people do is they email it to themselves, and then they click on it. Do you guys do? You guys do that? I know you guys do that. Everybody does that, or vice versa, and it's tedious. Oh, okay, so go into my email now, attach that link. Oh, but that's an SMS. How do I copy it from SMS? Well, all the hipster kids, they use Pushbullet, some of my corporate clients as well, like Ray White Real Estate. I was working with one of their groups, and when they listed a new property, they wanted to be able to push it to all the phones. So, hey, we listed a new property. And they said problem was that most people weren't seeing the emails. They just were so overwhelmed with email. So Pushbullet allows you from any of your devices, Android, iOS, Windows, from any of your web browsers, Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Opera, both Windows and Mac. And you can send from your PC straight to your mobile device or vice versa. And the other thing that I really love about it is you can have your mobile device in your bag, and if you're getting notifications on your mobile device, it will send it to your Mac or your PC. So you don't even have to get your phone out of your bag. That's SMS or app notifications, files, photos. It's fantastic. And that's called Pushbullet. The 19-year-old founder of this company said he was quite pleased that 100 million people had downloaded his app. 100 million people had downloaded his app. And so easy to use. You just pop up the panel. You see there's an extension there, green extension for Pushbullet. You pop that up. Maybe you want to drag it out so it's its own window because you're going to drag lots of things in. And go to your desktop, get your picture of your puppy, and you want to send it to a friend. You just pick up the picture of the puppy, drop it on, and boom, it's gone. It's absolutely fantastic. That's called Pushbullet, and no more wasting your time emailing things back and forth. Also, if you use OneDrive or Google Drive, there are extensions that instead of having to download a PDF in a web browser, they say download it, maybe I'm going to upload it to my shared Dropbox, there are plugins like extensions like Save to Google Drive, Save to OneDrive, Save to Dropbox, and you don't even have to open the PDF. You can just say, ah, that's the file I wanted from your email or web search, and bang, with a single click, can go into your cloud storage. That's a great one. Look for Save to your favorite cloud storage of choice. There was this great app developer, and they created this extension called Rapportive. And what it allowed you to do was when an email came in from someone and you didn't know who it was, it would pull up a panel on the right-hand side of your email, either Outlook or Google Apps. And it would say, here's that person's picture. This is where they work. This is the latest thing that they tweeted out. Connect to them on Facebook or LinkedIn. And it was so good that the guys from LinkedIn bought the company. They thought it was really good. So I've got this installed on my email. And I remember I was having a meeting with a CEO of a bank. And we were catching up, and I said to him, hey, congratulations, George, on your 29th wedding anniversary. What an achievement. That was fantastic. And how was that bottle of red wine last night? And you know what he said to me? He asked me this question. He said, Craig, are you stalking me? I said, no, I'm not stalking you, George. I just have this little plug-in to my CRM that it shows me your picture, and you tweeted out last night celebrating our 29th wedding anniversary, having a great bottle of wine. And he said, Rispin, I know what you're going to say to me, and this is what really ticks me off about you. And I said, what's that? What have I done wrong? He said, we just spent $150 million on our CRM, and it doesn't do that. Now, you're going to tell me that's free, aren't you? And I go, well, it depends. Are you going to hire me again? He said, of course I am. So don't stalk people with it, but it's good to know when you get an email from someone, is that an important person or isn't it, right? Here's another one to give your email superpowers, like Mission Impossible. It's called Mail to Cloud, an extension that will give both Outlook and Google Apps special email powers. For instance, would you like to know when you email a proposal to someone or a file, did they read it? Did they even open it? This will track whether they open it. You can keep it absolutely private so nobody else sees it. And just like Mission Impossible, you can make it self-destructing. So you can say, here's the file, but 10 seconds after you read it, it will evaporate, and it actually does. You can also get notified if people don't reply to you. So I have outsourcers that I work with, virtual assistants and people in the Philippines, and I can set a reminder. If I don't get an email back from my outsourcer in the Philippines within 24 hours, remind me, put it back in my inbox and ask them why they haven't responded. It's called Mail to Cloud for Chrome. It's really, really good. And you just click at the bottom of Google Apps or Outlook, and you can get those superpowers as well. It's really, really good. We got time for just a couple more, and then I'm going to answer the long list of questions that we have. Thank you so much for interacting. One of the last ones, Unroll Me. So spam isn't so bad these days. We've got great spam filters. I don't know if you get much email for Viagra, for instance. I don't get that anymore. But what we do get is bacon. Do you know what bacon is? Bacon are emails that you signed up for and you don't really want it anymore, but you couldn't be bothered to unsubscribing. Or you buy something online, say from Amazon, and then it's like you've given them permission to send you hundreds of emails afterwards after you purchase something. This is the biggest problem we have in our emails now, is not spam, unsolicited email, but bacon. And unroll.me, M-E, allows you to roll up all those subscriptions that you want to unsubscribe for and just say, unsubscribe all of those for me. Or if they're ones that you want, let's say they're a reading list of really helpful tips, you could put those into a digest. So these were all the conversations on LinkedIn today. It's absolutely fantastic. I've unsubscribed from hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of newsletters. So my inbox is just down to zero. I love having inbox zero. Such a great feeling. Of course, by the time I get done with this presentation, it'll be back to inbox 1,000. But anyway, at least we've got some tools that can automate that process. This is where it will roll up, give you sort of a digest, so you don't have to open up hundreds of emails to see what the conversation was. That's called Unroll Me. It's another incredible. Last one, because we're running out of time, and I want to make sure we got plenty of time for question and answer, because this is all about you, not just what I know. The last one, I don't know if you're like me, but when I'm doing business, I'm doing them in tabs in my web browser. I've got one open for LinkedIn, another one for Facebook. I got Twitter over there. I've got my email, got my calendar. And do you know that each one of those tabs takes up more memory on your computer? And sometimes I go to people's offices and I look at their web browser, and they can't even read the little tabs. You would never do this, would you? No, I know you wouldn't. But some people do, like me. Can't even read the tabs. I'll have like 100. I'll say to them, you know, each one of those tabs takes up memory. They don't know that, and they're wondering why their browser is slowing down so much. So the Great Suspender, what it does is you can open up all those tabs, but you can set a time that if I haven't touched it for 5 minutes, suspend it. It will clear out that memory so your computer can use that memory. And when you go back to it, it'll automatically refresh. Yes, it takes an extra second to refresh, but it'll make your web browsing experience so much better. That's the last one. I could share so much more with you. I've got 479 more slides, but that'll be for the rest of the year, I think. Let's answer some questions. Stop screen sharing there and see what you guys are talking about. Wow, 20-second questions. Rightio. I'm going to go in reverse order. Oh, well, that doesn't make sense. Yeah. Let's see. Getting lost here. Lost sound. Oh, did you? Marja? I wonder if it came back. Will you let me know? All right. Thanks. Anika asked, is there a way to check to see if you've been hacked but don't know it? Yes, there is. There's a fantastic Aussie security expert. His name is Troy Hunt, and he runs a website, Have I Been Hacked? Am I Hacked? I'll find it for you here, and I'll type it into the chat room so everybody has access to it. And you can put in your email address there, and it will look at all the known hacks that have happened in the world where emails have been released from Amazon, or remember Ashley Madison, remember that one? It's there as well. So some people are putting their partner's names in there. And I had to tell my wife that I was just doing research. No, my name wasn't there. But you can put in your email, or somebody you know, you put in their email and see if they're, say, on the Sony website. Remember when that got hacked last year? That was big news. That's Troy Hunt. I'll get you the URL and type it in the chat box so everybody has it before we go. Are some browsers, Summer asks, are some browsers safer than others? Firefox versus Chrome versus Safari? Yes. And the security experts have looked at all the web browsers. The least secure, funnily enough, is Microsoft's Internet Explorer. We kind of knew that, didn't we? The most secure is Chrome, followed closely by Safari, then Firefox, and then Internet Explorer. So in my family and my clients, they all use Chrome. Let's see. Carrie asked about the fix of the slide box transferring the upper right-hand corner that you're on. Oh. Carrie, we've recorded the whole session, so we'll have all the video on all the slides available on demand. If there's something that you didn't see, and I'll upload my slides as well. Let's see. Tanya says, we leave LastPass in our office and home too. Makes life so much easier, doesn't it? Yes. Vanessa says, I think this is amazing. uBlock. Yes, it's uBlock Origin, not the uBlock. That one hasn't been continued, but uBlock Origin. Find it intimidating how many ads appear. I know. I went to the Sydney Morning website last week, and this entire Ford ad came down in front of all the content, took over the entire screen. I quick hit on uBlock Origin, and away it went. So what's the difference, Tanya asks, what's the difference between WhatsApp and Pushbullet? So WhatsApp is a secure alternative to texting. It'll allow you to send messages and photos and things like that. But Pushbullet is device to device rather than to personal devices in a group. So I'll give you an example. I've got WhatsApp on all my devices, and if there's a picture that I've got on one device and I want it on all my devices, Pushbullet is the fastest way of doing that. You could do it with WhatsApp as well, but each one of my devices has a different WhatsApp address that I'd have to create a group. And this is all about just bang, drop it on, and it's gone. So how is Pushbullet different from messages on Mac? So the Pushbullet is different from messages on Mac because messaging on Mac only works on Mac and iOS devices. It's not cross-platform. It's not cross-browser. This is on all devices and all operating systems, so it is a universal. Jennifer asks, if I want to install Pushbullet, how can I download it on a single device, I think it is, rather than singing device, although I have a singing device as well. Single device only, or do I need to download it on all our devices? You either need to download the app on your device, or you can use the Google Chrome plugin on your web browser. They've got it for Firefox and IE as well. But on devices, we need an app. So LastPass installs as an extension in a Google Chrome browser, and it's an app on iOS and Android. Yeah. So what was that app that LinkedIn purchased? That was Rapportive, and it's fantastic. Really love it. Jane asks, can we get a list of these after the session? Yes. Not only will you have the recording that you could fast forward through and quickly find the slide, I'll also upload to my LinkedIn profile a digital copy of all these slides, and plus some bonus ones as well. So you'll find me, if you just search Futurist in Residence for the Executive Assistants Network, you'll find me on LinkedIn, and I'll publish the slides there. Do you have somewhere privately you could upload to your members? I'll send it to headquarters as well. Summer says, what's the fastest browser? The fastest browser tested is Safari. Both on, and a lot of people don't know this, you can get Safari on PCs as well as Macs. It is the fastest, but it's not necessarily the most secure. A new version of Safari that's come out for the Mac finally allows us to put these extensions in. And what's the first one you'll install? LastPass, and then probably uBlock Origin after that. How are we going on time? We're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good. We'll be able to answer everybody's questions. Denise asks, does Pushbullet have its own security authentication? It does. It does. It uses HTTPS, which means the whatever you send is encrypted. It's encrypted as you send it across the network. And I've got some security professionals that work for big multinationals, and they've allowed their employees to use Pushbullet. So you would need to check with your company whether they'll allow it or not, and they'll do their own vetting. I'd say check on that. Just going to the chat room now, see if anybody's had any conversations there. Thank you for joining us, everyone. It's great. Okay, last chance, last call for any questions. Got any questions from the room? Anything that occurred to you as I was presenting that you think would be most useful to your members? Out of everything that I discussed, which one do you think is most useful?
From a personal point of view,
uBlock. Yeah, uBlock. Yeah, uBlock is really good. Yes, yes. But we can't ignore a second factor authentication as well. So if you're going to do anything, I think strong passwords and two-factor authentication. But uBlock just makes your browsing just so much better, so much better. Okay, a couple last questions. Carrie Stevenson said, just want to say a big thank you, Craig, from all of us. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that feedback. And I'm sure to speak on behalf of everyone. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you giving up your time today and sharing your knowledge. You're a legend. Well, thank you. That makes me really happy to hear. I really appreciate that feedback. Christy asks, how do IT departments feeling about stuff uploading these? Well, it depends on your organization. Some organizations, I work with banks, and their browsers are completely locked down. They can't install any extensions at all for safety purposes, but more and more of them are allowing they create their own special group of things that they recommend. So NAB, for instance, is one of my clients, and there are certain plugins like LastPass, for instance, that they allowed, and so they'll have a group selected of approved apps. In some organizations, they won't allow Pushbullet, but at Ray White Real Estate, it was great for them. So you just have to check. A great answer from an IT department is, oh, we need to look at that. Not, no, we're not going to allow you to do any of it. So let's see what answer you get. Can we add you on LinkedIn? Yes, if you'd like to. You can just search for my name on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to connect with you. And then whenever I upload a new slide pack, you'll get notified as well. Emma asks, how do you know the best app for syncing color characterization from Outlook to another device. I think that means when you're tagging people or documents with colors. Is that right, Emma? I think there is. I'll just look at and I'll paste it into the chat room. I think there's a plugin called Grec that will synchronize cross-platform colors and characterizations. If that's what you were looking for, I'll just do a quick search before I turn the recording off. Vanessa says, really enjoyed the session. Any chance of another session in the future? I don't know. Should we do another one next month? Or we're going to take December off and do one in January? January. We're going to do one in January. Great. Okay. We're planning on doing this all year long. This was just our first one. We're just getting started with this. And thank you so much, all of you turning up. If any of your colleagues from EAN didn't make it, would you let them know about it? Because the more people we get, the more great guests we can get. We can get more vendors to do special giveaways. Wouldn't like to win some free stuff. So the bigger audience we can get, even better. And the last couple questions. Yes, scheduled for January. Carrie, to answer your question, is so Safari, not Chrome, anything similar? Safari is the fastest. Chrome is the most secure. Take your pick of either of those. Tanya, thank you for your feedback. Thank you for your feedback. Jacinta, thank you. Adele, for your feedback. Thank you for all your thank yous, everyone. They're rolling in. Not a question, but please invite me to next year's podcast. Spreading the news already. Fantastic. Great, everyone. Thank you so much. You really made my day by turning up and sharing all your wonderful feedback. I hope you learned some great things today, and we'll see you not too far into the future. Bye, everyone. By the way, I'm going to keep the recording going, so if you want to ask any questions, but it's going to be sort of edited out at this point for broadcast. Bernadette was asking, missed the plugins. Yes, those were all Chrome plugins, but many of them have Firefox versions as well. But I would recommend Chrome, yeah. And I was going to look up Troy Hunt's Have I Been Hacked? Were you guys looking it up on your phones? Troy Hunt, Have I Been Pawned, Owned? It's Have I Been Hacked? I found it. I'll put it into the chat room. Have I Been Pawned, which means owned, right? And just put it into chat. Where's my chat window gone? Here's chat. Turn it on. Here we go. Have I been pawned? Have I been owned? And I don't take any responsibility if you put your partner's email address in here and find out something you don't want to know. Just saying. It can be controversial at times. And just realize, just because it's there doesn't mean they never necessarily use the service. Some people typed in other people's email addresses into Ashley Madison just to set them up. So don't take everything as gospel on a website like this, but it could, spur a discussion, couldn't it? We definitely have one at my household. Honey, it was only research. Okay, guys, I'm going to close down the stream now. Thank you for all hanging out. 72 of you still there. I'll be answering questions for the next 12 months. And from the team here, visit executiveassistant.com for details of the date and time for the next webinar in January. Okay, everyone, great. Have a great weekend. Great working with you. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye, everyone. Wave bye, guys.